If you want to live in an Airstream, you got to get rid of a lot of shit. This is Big Rich, named after my old neighbor, Rich, Sally. They bought it for me as my Christmas tree before Lynn and I got married. Big Rich is going to Goodwill. Bye, Big Rich. Here we go. Just some of the clothes that I'm getting rid of, kind of an emotional thing. I'll show you how emotionally attached I am to the memories of my clothes. This red two-piece dress outfit my mom bought for me in college. I am 37 years old.
Well, would you say that these clothes met the like sustainability model? Is it what is it that you need to wear something at least 30 times before it becomes...
Yeah, the rule is usually that you wear clothes 30 times before they're considered worth the natural resources and carbon emissions that required to make them. So since I've hung on to my clothes for nearly 2 decades, I would say I have checked that one off the list, and I don't have room for them anyway, so they're hopefully going to go to someone else's bigger home than my 34-foot trailer.
Or maybe somebody that needs a deal.
Or maybe someone that needs a deal. Yeah, because we got some nice tags here. We got some Banana Republic, a lot of Banana Republic J. Crew.
So Macklemore, you can pop some more tags.
This is kind of an identity change because I am moving away from needing to wear fancy clothes. My career required a lot of suits and nice shirts and blouses and dresses and stuff, and obviously I'm boring my dog, so she doesn't care.
She's got it rough. Chaka, what are you gonna give up so that you can live in the Airstream? Oh, you're gonna have to give up your chair.
The Airstream is not just a trailer, it is a total identity shift from lots of things to not very many things, from fancy to simplicity. And it involves all kinds of changes and may seem small to get rid of a bunch of clothes, but actually I'm throwing away a lot of clothes that represented the old Allison. Not that I'm like a totally different, but I've transformed into somebody who just wants to wear flannel and live in that.
So does that mean you're a lumbersexual now?
I am a lumbersexual, yes. I'm coming out of the closet on this video.
So this is a, what is this, a bear? I guess so.
It's a bear.
But it's a bottle opener that you got for me. Was it our first Christmas together?
Yeah, it's for your man cave. If you ever had a man cave. But this is so cleaned up. This is actually, you can walk in this. We should have filmed the before, but we were too embarrassed. We're hoarders. So anyway, we figured we deserve a beer break.
Well, yeah, and so in order to do that in style, we're gonna actually use this bear bottle opener that Allie got me for Christmas. Precision with this thing. The whole reason why we cleaned all this up, though, is because we needed to have room for all this stuff we're going to be taking out of the Airstream that we want to save. So when we got married, it was a really crazy time. Imagine planning your own wedding, and we did ours on, well, I call it a shoestring budget, but we did it as cheaply as we could.
I made my own bouquet. My mom sent me flowers from Florida because she wanted to participate in picking those out and did a great job. And they're fake and have lasted now for a year. This is my old horse's horseshoe. But yeah, one of the many things we did to save money. Flowers apparently are really expensive.
The ironic thing was, is as if planning your own wedding wasn't stressful enough, then our landlord, not our current one, but the one that we were renting from, decided that, hey, I'm going to raise your rent by $700 a month because you guys are getting married. So congratulations on the nuptials. I want $700 more a month. Or are you guys going to be prepared to move out? So we said, bye. And the same week that we were finalizing plans for our marriage, we also had to move. So literally everything that was in here that we were too embarrassed to show everybody, we hadn't touched in a year, just because as soon as we got married, I went to Africa. Allison is all over the place doing environmental reporting for King 5. So it's amazing how time creeps up on you.
So now it's time to get rid of stuff. And to celebrate our progress, we have the beer bear. Cheers. So now that we both have our cocktails,
Beverages.
we're just going to talk real fast about why it is so tough to get rid of stuff, especially when you're chasing the minimalist dream, which is the opposite of having stuff. So, Lynn, you have traveled around the world, lived many lives, Marine, crazy man, all kinds of stuff. You've seen how little a guy can survive on. Why, though, do we still have all this other stuff? Like, what keeps people holding on?
I would say over almost the last 20 years, I've been carting around stuff. As George Carlin would say, stuff. Like, I gotta find a place for my stuff. With the idea that, okay, one day I'm gonna get use out of this, or one day this is gonna be important, I'm gonna need this, and so therefore I hold on to it. But then you realize, like, I've been through some of my bins, and I'm looking at things, I'm like, I have not used this. I have not needed this, referenced this, or whatever, because I have a lot of books and manuals and things like that. I haven't touched this in at least a decade. And so, why then am I carrying it around?
I think, for me, that time thing is true, but I use it as an excuse for denial. And as my parents used to say, denial is not a river in Egypt. I think, yes, I want to have all this stuff in case I need it. That's part of it. I think it's memories attached to stuff. Recognizing that regardless of how much stuff I keep around, time passes and those memories are what they are. They're memories. You don't keep that moment alive just by keeping your old bouquet from your wedding, which I may have like 8 of right now because I never got rid of my bridesmaids bouquets. What I want through this journey of moving into the Airstream is to find my humanity again, because I've kept all this stuff around in an effort to make my life more efficient or more successful. So I need all of this stuff to make the part of my life more efficient, that I actually want to be less efficient. I want to be like growing my own food, and I want to have the stuff that reignites just the simplicity of what it means to be a human. I want that stuff to actually be like really inefficient. I want it to be slow. I want it to take time. And I don't want to keep all this stuff around me that's made that life overcomplicated but fast in order to just work 12 hours a day. I feel like a lot of my stuff is trying to keep memories alive, not being able to let go of the past, and then also this identity I've had as this certain kind of career person who needs all of this stuff to work a certain kind of job and stress a certain level of anxiety in order to make a certain salary, to live in a certain city, and now I just want to like throw a wrench through it all.
I mean, the 30,000 foot view is great, and you're definitely right about the sentimental value of things, because I know when I go through some of my bins from my time in the service, I find little things like notebooks that I had from when I was on patrol and reading certain notes that I was writing about like what was going on, and instantly going back to that. I think there's something to be said for a few small things. At the same time, our goal, again, was get the space opened up so we could start demoing the Airstream, and get to work. You know, it is about sustainability as much as possible. It is about reducing, reusing, recycling as much as possible. I would say, though, that it's just sometimes things are just trash.
I don't think there's anything wrong with throwing stuff out that has no more use, but there's also nothing wrong with trying to find another purpose for whatever it is that you have, as long as you don't just stick it in the corner of your house and say you're going to find a new purpose for it, but really its new purpose is just collecting dust. But I will say...
That's me, real bad. I drive her crazy with that.
Actually today he just said, well, as long as you do something with those milk bottles that have been collecting dust. I'm like, oh, how the tables have turned. Because he will go on his work trips and like a little squirrel will put away all his stuff in a nest
and then I can't
somewhere.
find anything. Well, it's probably harder than motivating yourself to get out of the kitchen or out of the living room or out of your job to go and simplify and get rid of all this extra crap you have is probably when you were at the store in the first place.
Yeah.
Deciding to buy this crap.
Yeah, that's the place to
take it home.
Right. Yeah, actually, like, it's a lot easier to get rid of stuff when you don't have it. Think about how much debt that this world is in, Americans in particular. I mean, I can't remember the statistics, but it's ridiculous how many people don't even have like an emergency fund, and the average American's like what, $60,000 or $70,000 in debt. Debt and stuff, it is imprisoning because you cannot leave it. Like, we can't move into an Airstream when we have all of this crap still. If we have tons of debt, that keeps us from having to have certain jobs that maybe we don't want in order to pay bills that we shouldn't have had in the first place. So it really, like, it's a very tangled web. And it starts with the little decisions and they start to build up over time. You only have two hands and you can only hold on to so much. And so if you want to grab onto something new, you gotta let go of the old. And that's just the way of things. And time comes and goes. And it's the great question of the philosophers over the ages is what is the point of all this and how do you stop time? And you can't, and meaning and purpose. And we may never have a full answer to all of that, but what we can say is that you can't stop time just by keeping a bunch of stuff around. You're not stopping time. And you may be stopping yourself from moving forward. The more you have, the more like bars, if you like picture them as just prison cell bars, even though that's not really how prisons are anymore.
It's like you're building it from the inside.
You're building your prison, yeah. And even though the commercials and this world tells us that it's freedom we're getting when we buy all this stuff, it's wrong. That's not freedom. Freedom is not stuff. And that goes along with emotional baggage, physical baggage. It's all stuff that just keeps us from being able to move forward and live our best life. We would be sitting on stuff right now.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Love you, baby.
Love you too.